You are now listening to the iWalter Show. Real talk about nothing.
Faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive, able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. Look, up in the sky, it's a bird brain, it's a plane, it's iWalter. Yes, it's iWalter, strange visitor from another planet who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. iWalter, who can change the course of mighty rivers, bend ears with his annoying voice, and who disguised as Walter Interrunti, mild-mannered janitor for a great metropolitan newspaper, fights a never-ending battle for truth, nonsense, and the American way. And now, another exciting episode in the adventures of iWalter.
Yeah. Hey, it's me. It's Walter. Yeah, I've been off for such a long time. I haven't done a show in over, I think, about a month. I'm pretty sure it's been about a month. So I decided to try to do one tonight. Actually, boy, it feels like old times for me because it's been, ages. Literally, it has been ages, folks. So I went back to all my original format that I paid for like 2 years ago. And it sucks because, me not doing these shows, I'm still getting charged for, the 3 people who listen to me. Believe it or not, I get charged like $50 a month to, keep up the shows I've done in the past that nobody actually ever listens to. So it's kind of expensive. Yeah, I probably have things to talk about, a lot of complaining, obviously, to do, because that's basically what I made my show about to begin with, was just a place to vent and then get shot down by people of how I offended them. So, hey, our country's made up of offending people, isn't it? So I just try to encourage some more of that kind of stuff. So there is a plethora of things I can talk about, but I just don't know really where to start. So, because I've been off for such a long time. One of the reasons were, part of it was just being exhausted from work, working too much, and then sleeping, because, like, the last 2 days I'm off tomorrow. That's why I'm doing a show tonight at, 11:30. And today is going to be President's Day when I'm done this show. But I hooked up with an old friend, my friend Rich Minjin. I haven't talked to him in, I think it's been about 5 years at least, maybe longer. And unfortunately, the reason we met up again, I'm sorry about that, Rich, was because my computer broke and I needed his help on checking it out and see what it could possibly be done, and plus hooking up a new computer. Because I don't know when the last time I was on, so I don't even know what I mentioned from the last time I was on until now. But I ended up buying something I never thought I never dreamed of buying. So, again, when I can get overtime, I'm going to take it because I need to pay this off. Was a Mac Pro, the new one that looks like a trash bin. Surprisingly, it's a really good computer. It's very expensive. So I got one that was refurbished for $2,500, I think it was, $2,600. Lo and behold, though, folks, I didn't know this. My job, I went on the intranet at work. They actually offer Apple discounts if you buy major things like the desktop I bought. So I could have bought a brand new one for pretty much the same price with, the discount, because the company I work for uses a lot of Apple products in addition to PC products. So you get a discount because it's a big company. They're going to give you where I work, it's a big company, a big franchise that they get discounts. In fact, I actually got one on Verizon finally. I was always there, actually. Because I was actually going to get off Verizon once I was finished, and now it's just not even necessary to do so. Because my bill a month was for 12 gigs a month, I think, unlimited voice, limited data, obviously, was, without the discount, it would be about $130 a month. With the discount, though, it was $112 to $120 a month. So I mentioned this to some friends today. Now, though, I actually I think it was I don't know how long ago it was. It was, I would say, about a couple days ago, my thing finally ended, my contract. So it was like, wow, I didn't think to see that much of a difference, but surprisingly, I saw a big difference in my bill. The first one out of a contract with Verizon, and now this is including a discount too, folks. I get 20% off whatever the bill would be. It was $90, so it went from $111, $112 a month, $115, sometimes $120 to $90. And now, though, by the way, this is for unlimited data and unlimited calling, texting, whatever. It's all included. Everything's included. Because I remember years ago I had T-Mobile, and that actually worked very well. At least the data part worked very well because I kept T-Mobile as a hotspot. And now I'm thinking of getting rid of it. But actually, believe it or not, T-Mobile does get internet where I can't get it from Verizon. So, it's cheaper now. And I would love to get, save, because that's like $50 a month. I'd love to get rid of the T-Mobile hotspot. But unfortunately, though, I'm not sure if I can, because if I do, I'm going to be stuck where, hey, I got all this unlimited data, which, that's limited. They say it's not. But actually, I got to fix something real quick. I didn't realize I miswrote something. I hate when I do that. You ever, write something online and then you find out, wait a minute, I kind of, I do this a lot. I proofread, but then even my proofreading does not work. So I hate that. So I'm fixing it now. I found these old articles, about a certain show I'm watching, which was Welcome Back, Carter. And, there was another reason I wasn't paying attention or doing stuff, too. And I'll admit to this. It's nothing wrong. Hey, if you find fault in me on this one, then you got a problem. But with me, not anybody else, we got a problem with me. It was this show called, because I saw it posted, and this all kind of weans together, by the way. I'm going to jump around. I got a couple articles just to pad the time if necessary. But there was this thing when I went back and visited an old friend, Rich. I haven't talked to in a while, and this weekend I couldn't do it. I worked a double on Friday, so I was burned out. I just had no energy whatsoever. So basically, I needed to rest, and I believe it or not, I slept. This is no joke. I slept for the last 2 days. I got up and it was oh, wow, I rested pretty much until 6 or 7 last night, on Saturday night, because I keep on forgetting. By the time I'm done this, it's going to be pretty much Monday morning. So Saturday, I slept till 7 o'clock. I didn't get home until 7. I worked 16 hours practically. Not quite, but all said and done, it's just easier to say, hey, listen, I did a 16-hour shift, even though it necessarily was not. It felt like I worked 20 hours worth of work. That's more like it. So I get home and I'm exhausted, and then the next day I'm exhausted again. Sunday, I'm totally dead to the world, and I slept again until 4 o'clock. And I went to bed actually at 2 or so, 2:30. Normally I go to bed at 6 in the morning, and yet I can still get up, in plenty of time, with not having a problem. So, so it was just, that's how burned out I was. And that's a different story I need to get into about work, because I'm trying not to lose all these stories too. Somebody's picking on me about these old stories. There's a reason for that. I needed something. But anyway, when I met up with my friend Rich, I'm going to put these down for a second. I met up with my friend Rich. I haven't talked to him in ages. And God, I got a sarcastic. Somebody put up as a joke, my friend Todd, that I put up this old article about this one guy, actor who died on Welcome Back, Carter. And it was a guy who played Arnold Horshack. And it was I did that because I remember it happened and I just don't remember the date. So he puts up, Lincoln was shot. It was that's funny, because when you were trying to call me tonight, you hung up on me when I picked up the phone because you wanted to leave a voicemail. You didn't want to talk to me live. And that would be my my punch back kind of thing. It's like, okay, you're insulting me about stuff, but yet you're an idiot yourself. No offense. So I'm just telling you, don't slander me or don't bust on me when you can't be mature about things. I'm sorry. I just have to say this. That was another thing I got to get into. My friend Matt, no busting on you, but I did try to push this into you or tell you that there's a reason. Like, he gets mad. Matt, you get mad when I am not upfront. I do it on podcasts. I talk to other people about so and so, and it's not just Matt. There's certain things you got to learn by now. You just don't tell people to their face because you don't want to hurt their feelings. And generally, it's just a way to vent. I mean, that's why we go, myself and a friend go to I do, but I don't do anything with it. Go to a psychiatrist because you go there to vent. You talk to other people to vent. You don't say, if this person's really bothering you, do you go up to that person, hey, you're a fucking asshole, I don't appreciate you do this. You try to, but I've done that in the past. I was totally open with people, and I mentioned to my friend Matt, this was years ago, I was 21 years old. I basically told this girl that I was dating, I was 20 years old, she was 22. She was like 2 years older than me. And I basically told her, hey, at that time I was, I used to, before I dated, very first girl I ever dated was at 2021. She actually asked me out, too. That's what the amazing thing. I'm not used to, I never had that again. She was an extremely incredible-looking girl. Her name was Tammy Hargrove. She asked me out. She was, for some reason, I was like, you're, like, really hot. I'm just some dumb schmuck. And for some reason, you found me attractive or interested in going out with me. I don't know why, but, yeah, that's the best I can go. I just couldn't believe it. So, it went pretty far. It was pretty heated relationship. And back then, though, one thing I learned, because I was in all these state hospital and mental state hospitals, they taught you to be open about your feelings and don't hold anything back. And the only way you could get out, I'm telling you, I see these shows on, people in prison, and I'm sure they're glorified, but prison and being in a state hospital is not much different, believe it or not. Now, people will say, oh, yeah, there's a big difference. No, because you're confined to a room. You get some free time with other people, but then you're confined to the room again. Unless you're in some high, secure prison, all a prison is you lose your freedom, and you basically have community time with other people, but otherwise you're in your cell. Well, mine was a room without bars. There was, believe it or not, locked windows with grates over top of them. So, yeah, it's, believe it or not, there is not much difference between the state hospital or even these private facilities and in a prison. There really is kind of not that much of a difference. I'm not going to say, oh, they're completely the same. I'm not going to also say they're completely different because they're on the same line. Just one is you basically are serving time because you broke the law. The other one is you lose all your freedom, and you're basically, you got these people that you basically sit there and do nothing for like 90% of your time. And maybe once in a blue moon. Now, it was funny at Norristown State Hospital, that was voluntary. It was voluntarily, if you want to get out, you have to go to these group meetings. If you don't have to go. But then you're also going to be stuck there. They're just going to keep you there as long as they can, insurance-wise. And then when your insurance runs out, they'll just send you to another facility, and your freedom is completely gone. So there is no light at the end of the tunnel. If you do like a minor crime, eventually you're going to get out. But there is no getting out until you basically start to speak out. So where is this going? Well, I learned basically how to, play the system because that's the only way you got out. And you basically gave them what they wanted. You basically opened up your mouth and you told them what they wanted to hear. And you were basically completely honest on everything with these people. And then eventually, if you played your cards right, eventually you you got let go. You got let out of these state hospital or whatever. So that's not much different than prison because, I mean, I spend up to, I think, 6 months to close to a year in these places at a given time over the years. I mean, my stay lately has shortened when I went just like in recent years. It was only like a week or two. But years ago, yeah, it was like 6 months of being confined to the same four walls day in and day out. Really, the only time you got out is if you were good, on good behavior. Then you would have to get somebody. You would have to go through a whole spiel, showing that, hey, yeah, I could be okay for a 6 hour, a 4 hour, a 1 hour pass out for a week, and you'd have to do the whole 9 years. You have to do the whole thing all over again. So it was like your freedom was not there. You were fighting to get it, and you would have to have somebody who would be capable of picking you up. They just don't let you walk out the door. But you're confined to either like in prison. You have the place you go outside to play. Maybe not basketball, but it's the same kind of premise. If it's not basketball, which it wasn't, it was like walking out on the state hospital grounds or private facility grounds, but it was no more, no less. You had no freedom. So unless you actually say, hey, you know what, Walter, you have no clue what you're talking about. For you to say that, just to let you know, you would have to have experienced that. And I actually experienced that for almost a little over 10 years, off and on. I mean, it was a revolving door. I was in, I was out, I was in, I was out, I was in, and I was out. 3 years of my high school was lost because I spent basically all 3 years, except for about a month or two out of 3 years, out in the real world, in the outside world. So I do know what I'm talking about. So anybody else who has not experienced that has no clue of what they think. Well, you really don't know what it is to be like in prison, Walter. You have never experienced that. Actually, yeah, I've kind of experienced that too. I hate to disappoint you, but yeah, that experience I've actually had as well. Because years ago, I got in a little issue with a police officer who basically thought he was high and mighty, and I just moved home, and I kept in contact with a friend from Horsham, where I used to live, on the outside world. And we went down this place called Revivals. Now, this is an old story for most, but it might be new for anybody who may listen in. And my dad, actually was nice enough. He bought me a crappy car, but, yeah, it was a real crappy car. And I just found this news story I can read tonight. It says, teacher Oyster marks third sex scandal, elite Brooklyn Tech. Another teacher, female, having sex with underage, whatever, kids. But, sure get a slap on the wrist. They still do. I hope that changes under this new administration, because not that he has everything to do with that, but, I think when you have a new cabinet and everything else, they may reconsider these laws of, just letting people get away with doing whatever they want to do. If you're a woman, well, you got to let her go. It's not fair. You're not being fair to her. She didn't know any better, or something stupid like that. Anyway, I got off the beaten track. The off track. How's that? So, yeah, I lost my train of thought, folks. I'm so sorry, but yeah, I lost my train of thought. I saw that article and it just threw me off. But, the bottom line is, yeah, I've had all my freedom taken away. I was put in restraints, 4 points restraints. They actually go up to 5 points. I don't know if it ever mentions. If they put you for being misbehaving, if you misbehave in these hospitals, and they put you in 5 point restraints, it was like, wait a minute, you got your arms, you got your legs, and it was like, where's the fifth? It was like, oh, okay, because I got close to it. I got very close to it. The fifth one goes on your head, so you can't move your head. That completely, keeps you. So, yeah, this is definitely not any type of correctional facility type thing, really. Yeah. Okay, but you try to sit in 4-point restraints, and if you have to go take a piss, the way you do it is they give you a bottle and they're take care of the business because they won't let you up. So, okay, I remember now. It was with this police officer. This is absolutely true. Years ago, I just moved home with my parents. It was like, God, it's definitely over 20. It's got to be more like 30 years ago now. Yeah, something like that. And, I went down to visit his friend in Horsham. We went down to Philly to go to this place called Revival. It was actually an old church that was turned into a nightclub for like alternative music and stuff. And it was like, it was cool, but it was very cool actually, because that's where I first found out about Lords of Acid. And a very cool band. And so it was very cool. But anyway, I came back. My dad got me. I remember now. My dad got me this old Mustang. It was a '77 Mustang, Mustang 2. And he helped me out because my parents said, if you move back home, when I first came home, if you move back home, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to learn how to drive, and you're going to get a job, and you're not going to sit around the house. You're not just not going to drive. You're going to be driving. And it was like, okay, so I went for my driver's test, learned how to drive. First thing I said, okay, well, I'll go back. I'll learn how to drive. But at the same time, I'm also going to go back to college, or I'm going to college. I'm not just going to settle for some type of job that I'm not going to be happy with, which I end up doing anyway. I'm going to get an education. 22 years old. First time I ever drove in my life. My parents bought me a car, cheap one. It was like $1,000. Back then, that was 30 years ago. That was still a lot of money. My dad got me a car that was decent, get me from from one place to the other. It was like, okay, first thing I did was I enrolled into college. Didn't waste any time. And I had a job already. So I had somebody carpool me until I got my license and did it myself. Anyway, one of the things I did was I met up with this friend from where I used to live. His name was Mike. I can't remember his last name. And we end up going down, I went down to Horsham with him. Then we drove to the train station in Horsham. And then from there, we basically, went down to Philly, from there. And coming back, my car, it was pretty rusted out, the car. It had a lot of problems. It was like, Mustangs were notorious for back in the day that they would just, not just Mustangs. The older cars had no undercoating. This car had no undercoating, so it rusted out from underneath. It had a nice, good paint job on there, but you could never see it. But yeah, it basically the muffler tailpipe fell down. So it was rattling. I called my parents, like my dad from when I was down in Philly. I said, hey, because I think I had a cell phone then. Hey, Dad, can you help me out, or can you pick me up later? I'm not going to be home that late. I don't feel comfortable driving this car. The tailpipe is like literally hanging all over the floor or ground. And it was like, oh, don't worry about it. I called back when I got back from the Trocadero, or not Trocadero, I'm sorry. Was it Trocadero? No, it wasn't Troc. There is a Trocadero. No, it was Revivals, I think I said. Something like that, because the place doesn't exist anymore. It was down in Center City. I think the place got shut down or condemned. So I come home, and lo and behold, he said, oh, I fixed it. Don't worry about it. You'll be fine driving home. Just come straight home. But it actually was not fixed that good, because I got home, and it was making a lot of noise. It was like, well, I don't feel really comfortable still driving this. His car is extremely noisy. There's obviously something wrong with it. So what I ended up doing was Probably actually it was late to call my parents to pick me up, but it was like 2 or 3 in the morning. I can't remember now. It's been such a long time. So, make sure it's still going. So basically what I did was, I drove home, but then it was at this light that the light was red and it wasn't changing. It was like, you know what? I feel so uncomfortable. This car is extremely, extremely loud. I need to get in the house or get home, drive home. And it was like down in Horsham area. So I just kind of decided, it's like, listen, it's so early in the morning. Nobody's out. I wasn't paying attention. I think it was Old York Road or something like that, or something like that. Not Old York Road. It's something Lower Gwinnett, I think it was. I think it was Lower Gwinnett. That's what I meant to say. And, I drove through a red light. It was like, listen, this light's not going to change. It's going to be, and this noise is just drawing attention to myself if there's anybody out. Lo and behold, there was a cop parked on the side. He saw me go through the red light, even though I came to what I think one friend calls a Norristown stop. And, I got pulled over, and the cop was like a newbie. And he he was calling me a punk and everything, because basically the way I was dressed, that's why he did. They called me a punk. And, I should take you in now. And he was like, basically he was harassing me. It was no ifs, ands, and buts. He was definitely harassing me. And the thing just got escalated because I was just like panicking. I flipped out. And then he tried to put me in a headlock. I tried to get out of a headlock. And then one thing turned another, and before I knew it, trying to get out of a headlock, it's just like an automatic thing. He claimed that I bit him. So that was the big thing. And then I was in the Norristown newspaper the next day, so I was the joke at work where I was working. This place called I Got It at Gary's. So the whole thing was a nightmare. Did not leave me with good terms with police officers, because I had repeatedly, when I had Mustangs, that's why I will never buy another Mustang as long as I live, probably, even though I love them. Plus, they're just really bad in awful weather. Is just because every time, no matter what year Mustang I had, because I had different ones, I had, every model from 77 on, practically. But I constantly got pulled over by the police officers. So I finally got to the point, it's like, you know what, I got to give up on these Mustangs. And plus, they're just not very good in bad weather. So as soon as I got off the Mustang kick, which got started because my dad, that was the first car he ever got me, was a Mustang, it stopped. I never really got pulled over like I was. In fact, honestly, I never, because I don't speed or anything like that. So, so that whole thing was a nightmare. And to go back to it, because to make a short story that's already too late. The thing was, by the way, was here when I got pulled over in this whole shenanigans getting out of place. I was basically in jail for what do you call it, a holding cell for one night. So I experienced that too. And, honestly, besides there being, it was like a holding cell for like one day. But after experiencing that, trust me, I experienced being literally behind bars. And I've experienced being locked up in other ways. And I really can't say there was much of a difference. So, not that I caused criminal act or anything like that. It was some over some cop, which my dad got me a lawyer. We fought the thing, and we got the charges down to what it was originally supposed to be, a minor traffic violation, and cost, I think, a couple grand. But my dad ended up actually paying for that too, I think, or I forgot how we worked that out. But it was kind of a hefty fine, but it was only a fine and nothing else. So, bottom line is, I've experienced, a lot. Most people, I seriously doubt they've experienced any of that stuff, who have more room to speak, but have really no room to speak, if that makes any sense. So, now I'm actually way off target I'm off target zero, in fact, No, seriously. So I guess because I've been on for so long, I have a lot to say. How long have I been on for? Almost a half an hour of bullshitting. Saying nothing, basically. That's why I'm glad I put that back in there about real talk about nothing, because it absolutely is. To me, it's a lot, but for other people. But, yeah, I mean, again, I've experienced having no freedom, and the bottom line is to get back to what I originally was going to say. From my experiences in the past, I've learned to be, I was taught to be, you basically don't hold anything back. Like, you basically have an open window to everything you think and everything you say. And it was like, I got comfortable with that. When I was in college, though, that changed. They said people were getting scared by me being just way too openly honest and basically just saying whatever was on my mind, and included my past history of being in institutions and locked up for other reasons too. So I kind of weaned back to the point that from past experiences of, especially this one girl, Tammy Hargrove, when I told her, hey, listen, you act like you are an adult, but you're acting very immature. You need to grow up. And some other things that were basically, I thought, was positive, constructive criticism, which obviously she did not feel the same. And I learned from that experience and then other experiences over the years. And just people tell me that you can't be that honest with people. You kind of have to have a barrier that I just basically started to close up altogether. So getting back to what I started a half an hour ago, or 20 minutes ago with Matt, that is the reason I did take that tactic for almost 10 years, of being totally honest, maybe 15 years, telling everybody what was exactly on my mind, and look where it got me. It got me nowhere. People got offended, actually pissed off at me and stuff like that. So when I got doing this show, which I haven't done in over a month, who knows when I'll do another one, because it could be another month. Just let you know now. So you can get all your rant and raving out on, Walter, you're just being obnoxious. You can do that now because you won't hear me for like another couple weeks probably. It used to be every night. Then it was like once a week, and now I just don't know when I'll do them. But me on this radio show is the same me that used to be 20 years ago, before I was told that you need to kind of quiet up. So if you wonder what happened to that person, or why am I not more open and just telling people right to their face what's going on, that's pretty much why. Just letting you know. So, it's the best I could do of, getting to this point, but now I did. I apologize. I'm actually looking at these goofy pictures in the background. Some of them are like really hot cosplay chicks and stuff. But anyway, oh, well, that's a really cool mask this dude has on. It's actually the kind of mask I was looking for years ago when I was going to try to do some short film. Well, similar to what I was looking for. He actually has a mask similar to what the idea in my head was when I did this short film back in the day called One Lost Soul. So somebody actually found a mask that was the type that I was looking for. Anyway, I'm going astray again, so I apologize. Some really cool cosplay pictures, though. Some very cool ones. So that's what I'm doing now. So you hear this pause and, is Walter actually here? Yeah, he's just kind of caught up in the moment, so to speak. Okay, let me see if I can get back on track. It's very difficult for me. Short attention span, 9 yards. Okay, I met up with this friend of mine. Hadn't spoken to him in years. Haven't seen him in years. Rich Minjin. Now it's weird. He's married. He had like one kid at the time, possibly two. And it's been long enough. Now he has, I think, 3 kids, and the oldest one's 13 years old. So it might have actually been 10 years since the last time I spoken to him. And unfortunately, it was, again, under kind of weird circumstances where I was going away on Friday the 13th. This is like, last The beginning of February, or no, last month. It was last month, Friday 13th in January. And, yeah, it was like the night before, or the day I was supposed to go away. It was like, because I was up all night, and then I did get some sleep. But I was up pretty late, and the reason was I was just ready to go to bed. And lo and behold, somehow I spilled a whole crap load of water. Now, normally when I spill water, it goes over my desk. It goes on the carpet. This time it went, I don't know if I might be, saying something I've already mentioned before. It went right in the computer case, like right into the case. It was like a funnel was placed on the old computer. It was a Mac Pro, the one that looked like a cheese grater. So the whole thing, I literally tipped it over, and water just kept on gushing out. Like I was pouring a pitcher of water instead of from the computer instead of from like literally a pitcher. So the whole thing was a complete disaster. I right away that day I figured, you know what, I'm just going to order one right now. I'll go online. I'll buy this computer. I found one for $2,500. It's like, well, this is comparable, actually better than what I have. It's just going to need some upgrading, and it cost me a lot of money. So I did that. And I got that up and running, but then I wanted some upgrades. I put a terabyte hard myself into a bit of debt. And, again, I've been trying to get out of it himself by cutting themselves. So her arms are completely butchered up to this extent. Never to the extent that all her arms are completely butchered up. Down. Okay, I wanted to make sure. Yeah, some kid online Facebook has it's a girl. She has a mohawk, but this one is like beyond what I ever saw. There's a guy in school who had a mohawk, but this one's like, let's see if I can guess. I would say about like 4 foot high. So that's pretty intriguing in itself. God, I get easily distracted. I really, really fucking do. I can't believe it. Yeah, so I lost my train of thought again. Sorry about that. I'm actually up to almost 40 minutes. I'll try to get through these stories too, the best I can. But yeah, because there's a couple stories. Here's one from Breitbart. I love that. Illegal immigrant family shocked at immigration laws being enforced. So hey, that's my favorite alley kind of deal. So I apologize. I actually did really lose my train of thought. I saw these crazy pictures and all this other stuff. And again, I get easily distracted. Oh, okay. I think I do remember. It's a friend of mine, a Rich Minjin I was mentioned about. He helped me get my computer set up. So I thank him a million times over. Rich, because he was a big help. He got my computer set up. I, hung out with him a few times, but Rich is like the person that other people used to get pissed at because there was things that other people try to get me to drink because I really never drank. Technically, honestly, I've never drank any alcohol in my life. And Rich one time offered me a Schmierel's Ice, and I drank it and got really heavily sick from it. One bottle, and that really just enforced the fact that I have like zero alcohol tolerance. But he was the one that after years of other people trying to do the same thing, he had been successful. So that's the thing. And Rich has convinced me on other things that other people have just totally, completely failed on. So, yeah, what was I going to tell you? So he not only helped me with my computer, he taught me some stuff, gave me some ideas for new programs and new ideas, which is perfect. So that I like. But then he gets it for him, his wife, and his kids are this thing called Loot Crates. So I saw these at conventions before. There are different types. Basically, Loot Crate is a you don't know what you're going to get in the box kind of deal. But it's going to be filled with different stuff that geeks would like superhero T-shirts, superhero mugs, superhero paraphernalia, things like that. Did I say that correctly? I don't know. Probably not. And, you know, the whole 9 yards, but you pay like either $15, you may pay $25, you may pay, there's different types, and there's different companies that put them out. There's one called DC Legends, there's one called Nerd Crate, Geek Crate. They're all different ones, though. They're all different ones. But the premise is, and I saw these, like I said, at conventions for years, and I had no idea what that was all about. So end up like Rich, my friend Rich had these. And it was like, yeah, these are really cool. He showed me what was inside these, and it was like, you know, maybe yeah, part of it's out of boredom, but it's like, yeah, these are pretty cool. These are basically, you pay for either a subscription, or you buy them on a monthly basis. You have no clue what's going to come from one month to the next. And sometimes they are actually bi-monthly. But you have absolutely no idea what you're going to get. You have no clue. And that was the whole purpose of it. Like, you buy this stuff not knowing what you're going to get, but it's going to have a certain theme. Like, Geek Crate does a different theme every month. And the theme is all this, like I said, T-shirt. You can even just get one just for T-shirts. But a T-shirt, maybe a mug, some other stuff, maybe little knickknacks. They're called, because I got a lot of them now lately, because I got the ones I already knew what was inside. Of these crates, different companies make them. DC one, again, Loot Crate. And I got ones from the past that you already know is in there, because people were selling them if they don't get what they like, they're to sell the whole crate off. And it's kind of cool, though. So Rich has been doing it for a couple years. Again, he gets them like as Christmas presents, birthday presents for him, his wife, and his kids. And yeah, so, you know, it was like, well, at first, I've gone to comic book conventions for how many years now? And actually never, like, somebody like convinced me, because they even make one specially for Doctor Who. It's like a big TARDIS box at the last one. And convention one, too. I think it was the one in Oaks. And they said, yeah, you really like to get this, because sometimes you pay like $50, but you can easily, the stuff inside the box, you don't know what it's going to be, is worth like 10 times more than what you're paying for the box. So I didn't believe it at first, but yeah, sometimes you do. You might pay $15. It's a random draw that you're going to get something that's actually worth more than what you paid for, even at $15. So, yeah, so I saw the ones that that this guy Rich, my friend Rich, has, and I was like, you know what? These are, actually really cool. So at this point, I got all these freaking geek boxes that I bought. Like, and I got them like either a little bit over the cost or a little bit under. But now I got a ton of T-shirts. What do you call those Funko things? You know, those little Funko figurines they make for, like, because my big thing was like Suicide Squad. So I got a ton of those now. All different types, and they're all really like freaking awesome. By the way, I'm looking at this picture somebody posted. It was from fans of Suicide Squad. It says DC Rumors, and it is not who was that who played Batman right next to Donald Trump. It's not Christopher Nolan, but the other, his name was the guy who played the Batman, not Ben Affleck. I got something to tell you about that, too, by the way. If I have it in my list of stories, if not, I'm just going to have to kind of mention it, because I was kind of shocked. I think it is my list. But, yeah, it's on a, DC/Suicide Squad, and they have a picture of one of these actors, not from Suicide Squad, but one of these actors who played Batman is right next to our President Trump. President who is, yeah. So that's really cool. I got to stop looking at these stories. I think that was really cool, though. I wish I could remember his name, though. Did I pull all my stories down? I hope I didn't, because I had a whole crap load of them up. Oh, here they are. Good. Still pissed me off, the one friend who tried to insult me. By the way, it's like 45 minutes to the hour, and not cool. So, so I got caught up on these loot crates and DC ones. I finally got all the ones that I ordered from eBay, Amazon, directly from these web links. So now I think I got like 7 boxes, and each one comes with like nifty stuff inside. So a lot of the stuff I leave in the box because it's kind of cool just to keep it in the box all together. Comes with really cool comic books if you're into comics. I never really read superhero comics, but some of these are really awesome because these are like explains like the backstory of, because I never knew about Aquaman, about Superman, the first issue of Superman, how that all got started. It's a reprint, but believe it or not, if you do not get it in the box, the cost of the reprint issues of like Superman issue 1 when it was first issue, the reprints are going for like $20, $50 for reprints. Not even the original ones. The original ones were over $1,000 probably at this point, probably even more than that. So the whole thing is, it's cool because you can get a reprint. They redo the cover for these these box sets, but then they have the actual original cover inside. Or they just have the original cover and it's just another reprint. But again, just remember, the reprints are worth just as much after a while as, the reprints of the reprints. So, I'm not going to say of the original, but it's kind of cool. So to have those in your possession is really cool, too. That's why I leave that in the box, too. But again, it was funny because I just read a spoiler on that. I never knew this, but even Aquaman, I got one of these geek crates, or it was actually one from DC crates, and it actually was one where I didn't know this, but Aquaman had a son who gets killed, and Aquaman was married. He had a wife, and his wife basically in the next issue blames him for his son's death. Or their son's death, I should say. So, lo and behold, there was this spoiler online about the new, The new, the DC characters all together, the Justice League, where they do have Aquaman's wife in the movie. They picked an actress. So, if you're like a big geek, I never knew this stuff. I only find out about the backstories of this stuff after the fact, like, after the movies come out, because I never read these comics as a little kid. So I was into a whole different type of comic book, and they weren't superheroes. So looking back at these are actually kind of fun. And even my reading on those, by the way, is pretty bad. I can't even read a simple thing as a comic book. But it is, either way, it is like awesome. To see the stuff. And again, you're paying like $15, $20. You know what? And it's like, well, that's $15, $20, Walter. You could have spent on something else. You know what I would have spent it on? Freaking, I'm not going to say porn, but fetish videos or something like that. Stupid fetish videos. And probably spend even more than that. So $20, $15, and that's included shipping, by the way. I got one for the other day. It was a theme on the X-Files. And guess what I paid for that? I paid, what was it? I paid like, I paid $12 for it, $13. It was cheaper than what the person who bought it. They just wanted to get rid of it. They never even wanted to have it. It even had like this little plush of the alien, the face hugger. And it was an exclusive by Loot Crate. So there is some cool stuff like that you can get. And you don't pay that much. It's just, unfortunately, after a while, it just accumulates a lot of space. Because now I got all these freaking boxes around, which I don't want to destroy them. I'm going to keep them for collector's reasons. But you know what I found out? I'm going to use those. I've been using those boxes to store stuff in as well. Without destroying what was in there initially that I didn't take out of the box. Like if I'm not wearing it, I wanted to keep the box. So what I ended up doing was I'm using those boxes as storage. So, and so I can get the best of both worlds. Like, hey, I got this really cool box, which I don't want to destroy, but want to keep it intact, and the stuff that I didn't take out I want to keep intact as well. So it's serving like it's serving a multiple purpose thing kind of deal, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, so that part is like really awesome. So, but the bottom line is now I got all these boxes, and I got some more on the way, unfortunately, quite a bit, in fact, that I pre-ordered and stuff. But you gotta be careful, because when you order the stuff, it's really awesome. But I made sure, at least with one I have to wait until I get the box set or whatever. And it was only a couple bucks. It's a little bit of, spending money. Now, my friend Rich does it because he's a lot like me, but he's more honest about it. I've gotten that way now, and he's a lot younger than me. He's like at least 20 years younger than me, maybe 10. Yeah, so what was it? Rich doesn't like to leave the house. He's very much, even though he's married, he has wife and kids, and he's very sociable when you talk to him. He's very, very sociable. But Rich basically just said he doesn't like getting out of the house. He doesn't like being with people. He's like me. He's a computer geek. So he's kind of in his own shell, which is a lot like me. But to the point, he doesn't even like going over the mall. So he said there's certain things like, hey, if I could get out of the house and go over the mall and not be so much of an introvert, he would be buying this stuff probably in the mall if he's seen it like going past a store that had all these novelty things. He said, well, with this though, it kind of saves him the time. He doesn't leave the house most of the time. What he gets in these loot crates, or what he gets just strictly loot crate though. Would be stuff if he would leave the house. He said I'd probably end up buying this stuff if I would be capable, or would walk around the mall and not be so afraid about doing so. And it was like, yeah, I do go to the malls and I do spend a lot of money, so now I do both. But lately, actually, I have not gone to the malls and stuff. Wow, this girl looks like she was over some. Oh no, it isn't. Lately, I have not done that stuff because honestly, I'm just too afraid. Like the King of Prussia Mall, they opened up this whole new thing, this whole new like connecting the malls. It's all one mall now, and that was like last year they did that, and I'm just too afraid to go over there. I'm actually almost afraid to go over there tomorrow because I'll be in that neck of the woods. I got to go past Bed Bath Beyond tomorrow, and it's like, well, honestly, I'm afraid to go over, and I see all these young kids that are be smart asses and kind of be like bullies and stuff like that. I'd rather just kind of stay away from the whole thing. I'd rather not have to deal with, childish adults and childish children. I can't deal with that. So in a lot of ways I am like Rich. Like I will go to these places when I know, like if I could get up on time, I'd preferably rather go to these places during the day when people are at work or the kids are at school, before like school lets out and when it's not a holiday. Because otherwise, I can't stand dealing, with the everyday public anymore. It's just, it's not worth it, actually. So anyway, I got caught up. That was time consuming again, because like my friend Rich, I told my friend Matt, because I haven't seen him in such a long time, when we talk like I'll head over. Even like one night I said, Rich, I'm not going to stay all night, I'm only going to spend a little time. I got something, I bought him something because he got me, that's another thing, he got me this one show. And also that's also what stirred up the loot crate thing too. Well, a lot of it was Rich. He influenced me on, or showed me these loot crates, and was like, these things are so fucking awesome. Like I opened up, I was like, oh my God, there's like stuff in all, and I looked at older ones that were for sale that people didn't want. And it's like I picked the ones that I actually really wanted, and I bought all those. Like ones that people, like they bought them, they looked at them, was like, you know what, I really don't like what's inside. It's brand new, I haven't touched it ever since I got it. They're basically like new, and they're like a year or two old. These loot crates, DC ones, the blah blah blah. And I bought those. So again, I got like 7 of them. I got a couple more on the way. I keep on joking with Rich. Said my friend Rich says I created a monster by showing these loot crates. It's like, yeah, that's like kind of an understatement at this point. But it wasn't your fault. I know it isn't, but it was awesome that he showed them to me because I never understood those until. I mean, the man could go into sales because he's unintentionally, he's a good salesperson without even knowing it. So there's that. And then, Rich, I said, hey, there's this show, and he explained it to me. He explained a lot to me, like different movies and stuff he suggested I probably like. And when he showed them to me, it was like, yeah, you know what? You're absolutely right. This is, like, really cool. Holy shit, this one girl got a picture that I'm looking at. She's a friend of mine. Kelly Helen Thomas did a meet and greet with Sam Raimi. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, oh, is it Ted or... I think it's Ted Raimi, actually. I can't tell because Sam and Ted look a lot alike. But that is... I think I just shared her picture on my page. Dude, it's Sam Raimi, or people, dudettes. Yeah, so that is freaking awesome. I'm going to have to take it down. I don't think she'll appreciate me. Well, maybe she would. It's like, you got a picture of Sam Raimi, for Christ's sakes. Or Ted Raimi, I don't know. One of the above. So, anyway, he introduced me, like he explained, there was a sequel now, that movie, oh, God, I can't remember, some movie, couple different movies. He explained them to me, and it was like, you know what? I got to take this down, even though I really like it. Oh, shit. I got to find her picture again. Yeah, I still want to post her picture. She got a picture of Ted Raimi, and I don't even know who it's her thing. I normally don't do that. So anyway, I took it down now. You know what? By the way, it was funny, folks. If you're into Twin Peaks, somebody actually sold for a lot of money a plush of a plush log that the log lady would carry from Twin Peaks. You know, she would always hold on to this piece of wood, a log, the log lady. And somebody made a plush version of it and sold it on eBay, and I think it sold for about $100. But then there was other ones that were made. It was something that was only made in limited edition for the return of Twin Peaks, and they sold for a lot more than even that. So that was pretty interesting. The log lady, though. Yeah, I'm trying to look because there was a sequel made, a part 2. Let me see if I can pull it up on iTunes because that'd be a lot easier. Movies, because it just got like for pre-order, I think, to release. Because my friend Rich introduced me again to a lot of stuff, and I'm trying to see if I can find it. But he kind of explained, like, because he explained the premise of Prometheus, and I ended up buying that because I never understood the whole premise of the Alien Prometheus movies and how that kind of played out. And after he went into, like, a long story about it, which actually was very intriguing, it was very informative. I know it's just a movie, but it was really cool. It was like, oh, okay, Mr. Kata. No, it was really good, and I ended up buying those because they're not that expensive because it did so bad, the movie. But, I mean, that man needs to, explain things to people because I think he would help really bad movies actually do really well once you know what they actually stand for. There's a guy at work, by the way. He kind of told me about, like, he's got to be around a little bit younger than me, about around in his 40s. I'm 50 now, but we grew up with the same kind of stuff. And he's from Jersey. He works at where I work. And he kind of told me about certain movies. And it was funny because I was surprised for some reason. The movies he recommended, like, he likes all types of movies. He's big into Disney cartoons, believe it or not. But he knows I'm into horror now because I've been talking to this guy for the last week or so. And he said, well, when I grew up, the horror movies that really just basically scared the crap out of him, he mentioned, like, from the 70s and stuff. So I looked up these movies, and they were, like, almost perfect ratings. That's how well he knows how to pick a good horror movies, this guy. And I put him on my Facebook page. I don't think I have him on my list of stories, but I will have to look for those later on. Not that important right now. I'm trying to look for one that Rich had recommended, which he was actually, once he explained it to me, I was like, wow, I really missed out on this one kind of deal. So I'm trying to look for that. Try not to screw things up in the process. Please forgive me. I haven't done a show in a long time, so a lot to say. Man, it's not working. Trying to open up another page without screwing it. Because I think it's like a movie. They just made the sequel to this film. It's an action film. And I can't remember the actor's name. Wait, let me just put in Matrix and take it from there. Because those were classic movies. At least I can get a name. Sorry about that. Let's see. Names. Oh, Keanu Reeves was in a movie just recently. Let's see. Keanu Reeves, actor. Keanu Reeves, IMDb. He's done a movie just recently. It had a sequel. Oh, wow. They have these actually in a weird order. Okay, John Wick. Rich explained that to me. I was actually going to buy that movie now because he explained the whole premise of John Wick, the film. And he says, yeah, and he really did. He showed me like highlights of the film. That John Wick was actually, Chapter 2 just came out just recently. I think about a month ago. Is it still out in the theaters? I don't know. But John Wick was actually a awesome film that he showed me, not like highlights of it. He showed me enough to convince me. It's like, dude, you don't have to go any further. But he showed me all the highlights of the movie, and he said, yeah, this is a movie he expected not to be that good when the first one came out. And he was pleasantly surprised it was a really good film. So Rich actually introduced me to that. I actually got to look for something else. I totally forgot about Rush Limbaugh was actually on he was on TV today. I missed it. So I was able to check because I renewed my subscription for 2 years on Rush Limbaugh. And it was a hefty price. It was like $70 for 2 years. But I do listen to it all the time. Oh, that's weird. Now they made him take it down, I guess. I'm glad I caught it when I did. Oh, no, he didn't. Rush was on Fox News Sunday with Chris Wallace. That was yesterday now. And I watched that. That actually was intriguing because I tried to tell two friends, neither one responded back. That's okay. That I kind of realized when Rush was talking to Chris Wallace on Fox yesterday now that he made a very good point that, you know, they've been shooting down Trump. It seems like Trump's been in office for almost like 4 years already, which he has not. And they basically, you know, Rush kind of said in a roundabout way. I'm not saying he said this directly, that basically the way they try to tear down Trump, and they haven't succeeded, that they're going around it the wrong way. They're not going to win with him because they're doing it like it's even been brought out now that actually Obama is held responsible. He's kind of been held accountable now also for trying to take down Trump. Like, he's got this whole conspiracy thing going on or whatever. Not a conspiracy theory, but it's true to life. That's now been proven that, Obama is going to try to destroy Trump, not directly, but indirectly with other people doing the work. So, it's a true God's honest truth what they're trying to do to the man. And they're doing the tactic, because in the past this has been pretty successful for them, that they tore him down, these other people that were on the Republican side, by, just that they would cave in. They eventually would cave in. Trump's not the type of person, because he's not really a true Republican. He is not from the same cloth. So they can't get this through their head. They're just wasting their breath. They're wasting their time. So it's going to at least continue for 4 years, and hopefully another 4 after that, because the good thing is, hopefully Trump will have enough energy to do so, because he is in his 70s, early 70s. So, but if he really wants to run, I think in 4 years from now, I think he'll have no problem, because he's now proven to people, like, this man is, the only person in politics who actually, at this point, who actually has a set of balls and is not afraid to step down. Won't step down, I should say. So that alone is just beyond impressive. And by the way, I don't know if I didn't read this. So I'll give you a highlight. I've seen this on Envolve, E-N-Volve. Trump is taking America back, reversed Obama's transgender bathrooms. So, yes. So all those people who push for that, this is true, unless this is more fake news, which I hope it's not. That is excellent. That is excellent. There's another one. I think I do have some slight stories on that. Post it. Is also, I'm jumping around. God, it's over an hour now. Which is also another awesome thing, by the way. Is I can't remember now. Yeah. God, I'm drawing a blank. I think I already mentioned this, but I'll probably mention it maybe again and again. Unintentionally, period. Is that they had that shutdown day, where people, people that are immigrants, basically illegal ones, were all protesting by not showing up to work one day. My one friend, Todd, told me, though, that kind of backfired because some place where they basically had all these illegal immigrants working for them, the owner of this, or the place or whatever, the management, the owner of the place, I don't know where it was because I can't remember exactly where he said what place this was that this had taken place. When the people that were already illegal decided, hey, I'm not going to show up to work today, the guy fired them all. So, So, hey, more kudos to that. They literally fired everybody. That was classic. That was classic. Yeah, the guy fired everybody for not showing up to work. So, another kudos right there for that one. So stuff like that, when I hear that, it's just like, it definitely makes me kind of laugh. Well, you know what? These people won't learn. That's the problem too. They just will not learn. But this whole thing on Trump too, that's cool if this is true. Again, you don't know what's real and what's fake anymore because everything could be fake. Trump always points that out, and he's right. And that's one thing he won't step down upon, this fake news shit. I'm hungry again, folks. Well, I ate tonight was a salad, and then I had a BLT, so I didn't eat anything that heavy. Ebby. One woman at work, her granddaughter doesn't say heavy. She's a little kid. She goes, Ebby. It's too Ebby. You're too Ebby. My one friend, Val, haven't talked to her in a while. So anyway, there was a couple things. God, I tell you, unfortunately where I work, I take it for granted because time goes so fast that a lot of our upper management, unfortunately, it consists of a bunch of millennials and snowflakes. So it dawned on me the other day because the one higher up, she's really good, but she's only 34 years old. I might have mentioned her to a friend. I never mentioned on my show. Beautiful looking woman. She's 34 years old. She's higher up. She got on the top chain of command. She's held accountable for a lot of people. And it's like, listen, I'm trying to help you out. She is very attractive. I've said that before. I'll say it again. So, but that goes so far with me. I don't care how attractive you are. I will get to a point that when you think that you being attractive is my main goal to talking to you, then and you let that take over, you instantly, in my book, become a snowflake. You believe the BS of oh my God, every man is trying to rape me kind of deal. And I lose interest real quick with people like that. Unfortunately, this particular person, she's done a lot, and I even I wrote her a nice email, and I said, kind of straightened her out a little bit in the email. And I'm at the point, some people, they don't know me very well, and they learn really quickly, hey, if you think that I'm, kind of hitting on you, I'll make this very clear. It's not It's not actually happening. If you know me better, I'm not the type of person to really, hey, I love women, but at the same time, yeah, I don't go out of my way to be a douchebag and hit on any woman. It's just not in my nature. So to make that bluntly clear, and she didn't get the hint, so I'm going to have to just take it the next step. Well, I already did. I had actually, where I work, we're not supposed to take photographs of certain things. And I kind of will not say that I did, but at the same time, I'm not going to say that I didn't. So that, hey, I'm trying to tell you that there's certain things that, you're focusing on me all the time, but you're kind of missing what's really going on. And just trying to give you a heads up, if you're not willing to pay attention, we had a higher up in manufacturing come in for where I work. This person's a higher up in manufacturing. They're responsible for just that, for manufacturing. And they were supposed to do a walkthrough, and they did not show up. And it's an irony here because they were supposed to come in and check out what's going on. And fortunate for this higher up woman that we have now, who's 34. So I was thinking about that. I was, God, when she was 14 years old, I just graduated from getting my associate's degree. Back in 97, she was only 14 years old. She's 34 now. I did the math. And I was like thinking about it. I was like, wow, she was 14 years old. I was just graduating with my associate's degree. And now she is the boss's boss. So that's how I look at things after a while. And, yeah, so, I'll play games with people for so long, but unfortunately, then the games become, not fun anymore, and then I just kind of have to kind of pan it back. So one thing I try to, do, and I was totally honest with her, was... you got to pay attention to what's going on at work, because I told her the day afterwards when this boss didn't show up, or higher up, higher in the food chain of command, did not show up. I said, you're kind of lucky he didn't show up, because if he would have saw what was going on with certain situations, things not being done properly and things like that, basically her ass would have been grass. She would have been hearing about it. And big time. So I did this in an email. It's like, hey, if you certain things you thought you got rid of you corrected the situation, and you're basically you're proud of yourself. I said in so many words or less, because honestly, I just don't care. I even told a friend, if it comes to me getting fired, I will enjoy it, because I'll just collect unemployment for as long as I can. Because if they fire you, they better give you a very good reason for why you're getting fired. Because if they don't, they're going to end up paying for your unemployment. So that's the way I looked at it. And so and plus I just have this, how far can I push my luck before I physically just get fired? How far can I push it? You want to start games, I can play games, and I've honestly... So far, I've done them a lot better than most people at that job that I work at. And they still just don't learn their lesson with me. They're still kind of just push my buttons. So, and it's like, okay, you can continue to do this, but you're fighting like you're playing. You're fighting, whatever you call it. You're playing. You're doing a losing battle kind of situation. You're not getting anywhere with me. You're basically going to beat your head against a wall. That's the best you're going to get out of me. You're going to beat your head physically against a wall, thinking that you're getting somewhere and really weaning me down, but actually all you're doing is you're just driving yourself nuts. So, bottom line. So I wrote her this note. She didn't get back to me, but she's got what I do. She's this person and higher up. She said in one of our meetings, she says, well, I have really bad OCD. I was like, I know what it's all about. It's not a laughing matter. You may think you have OCD, but if you really want to know what OCD is about, I can tell you my horror stories, because I really do have OCD. Not just saying that and thinking that I do. So bottom line was, so I wrote her a note, and what came out of it, by the way, was she didn't respond back to me, but I found out she definitely did respond back to her management. Like, she pretended I didn't say anything, but I got under her craw, and it was so obvious that I got under her craw, because then what she does, she asked one of the managers, which I overheard the manager talking about it, this woman at my job, and she says, oh, yeah, so-and-so, her boss, is the one who I contacted. And I said to her, about all this stuff. She says, oh, yeah, the boss has been asking me, hey, can you stop everything? Can you check? Is everything going okay inside the areas of production? Is everything going okay? And she says she wants me to stop. She's texting me about this stuff. This boss who, this boss is texting my bosses about the stuff that I basically told her about. I said, you need to kind of open your eyes and see what's going on, because the place is in total shambles. And she didn't respond back to me, but she did take it she had taken it serious enough that it definitely, again, it got stuck in her craw, and she had to follow up on it, but she never responded back to me. So, unfortunately, that pisses me off. It's like, okay, you're not even acknowledging I said something, but yet, in a roundabout way, you kind of are. So, you pretend it like I didn't say anything, but yet you're admitting that what I said definitely kind of opened your eyes. So, does that mean I should be happy about that? Or is it something that I should be really pissed about? I don't know. But it did definitely stuck under, in my side now, my craw, whatever. Because it was like, the way you get things, situations resolved is it's by communication on both ends. Okay, Walter, I hear what you're saying. What exactly needs to be done? What exactly is the issues? She didn't want to hear me. She's going to trust the people who are going to basically tell her a lie. Bottom line. No boss is going to tell her, listen, hey, yeah, you know what? Things are a little bit out of hand, because that would mean, folks, they would have to admit that they're not doing their job. And that's not going to happen. So I don't know what else to say. Is she that stupid? I don't want to use that word, but is she that dumb that she doesn't realize that asking the person or the people held accountable for these people not doing their job, going to that source is not going to make the situation any better. They're going to lie through their teeth about it, or they're going to find a way to weasel themselves out. I don't care who they are. And you're talking management. Excuse me. Excuse me. So that alone is just very irritating. I'm sorry about that. I mean to scream like that all of a sudden. But it is extremely, extremely irritating. So she's going to find out the hard way, unfortunately, because what's going to end up happening, no offense, eventually what's going to happen is, she got stuck, this person who was a higher up, who's the boss's boss. She's going to get into a situation, if she continues that way, of not listening to the correct people, distrusting the wrong people. I mean, no offense, it's going to happen, though. She's going to be made into the scapegoat. Now, she's really working hard, but the only thing she's really working at is giving herself a nervous breakdown, because she is trying to tackle all this stuff, but she's not listening to the right people who are actually giving her what needs to be, what needs to be done. And yes, I am referring to myself, just in case I'm not going to beat around the bush. I want to tell you the truth. It's me who's trying to give her the right things. And I'm not throwing people under the bus. Please don't take it like, oh, well, Walter, you're throwing people. No, I'm not. Because there's some really good people there. And they come to me, the people I consider to be good people, like people that work on top of me. They have a higher job position than I do. One was this girl. It was like I basically held her under a lamplight in a dark room and told her to spill her guts when I worked third shift the other night. I mentioned this to a friend. So I got to be really careful to mention what position she is or who she was, which I will not mention either. But I talked to this girl. She's on third shift. She's a younger girl. She's probably of the millennial age and probably even goes that way. But she told me, she's, listen, I worked in this other building, across from where she bid into now, where I work, and I bullshit with her. Again, she's got a higher title position than I do. And she said, well, the old job, if the shit that was going on here with, like, my fellow coworkers not doing their work and then giving people, higher status a hard time and tell them that you need to kind of help me out, do my job, because I'm not going to clean up after you, blah, blah, blah. This girl told me from third shift, if that girl would do this in her old department, another building on plants where I work, my thing just went down. I just don't want to lose my place. She said they would have gave her such a hard time. It would be like, now they probably will, because they know who it is, because she threw all these people under the bus and saying they're not doing their work. But this girl told me on this third shift job, when I was there for 16 hours the other day. I mean, I was burned, freaking out. Like, well, maybe more like 14 or 15. It felt like definitely 16. The amount of work I did was more like 18. I think I already said that at the beginning of the show. So anyway, she said, like, yeah, in the old area that she worked, these women, these are like higher people. They make, they manufacture certain products. They have a certain type of degree. Me, I'm a glorified janitor. This one girl who's creating a lot of problems is a glorified janitor too. And, she told these people, like, listen, hey, and even this girl told me, she said, it would be like me telling you, or somebody else, like the higher-ups, the bosses, hey, listen, I'm not going to do my job because I don't think it's part of my job to do my job. I'm being very vague because I can't be very descriptive without just, like, basically bluntly saying what it's all about. But let me put it in words that I can't explain. I'm a glorified janitor. And this girl was saying, and this woman or girl I was talking to said, it'd be like me saying about my job the same thing on my level of work. But she's basically telling these people, which her job will disappear if she continues this way. This one particular girl at my job who creates, a bit of hardship for everybody. She doesn't want to work. That's the bottom line. But she basically, was saying, you need, she's a glorified janitor. I can't pick up your trash all the time. It's not my job to get all your trash. You need to help me out. So, in a way I can put it, being a glorified janitor, it's like, you know what? I can't clean these restrooms today. I can't clean your office because you're just making too much of a mess. And, you really need to do your share of the work. You need to help me out, do my janitorial job. And you know what they're going to tell you? Well, if you can't do it, and we do it, you're not going to have a job anymore because we're doing your work for you. So you'll be -1. It won't be +1. It'll be -1. So the bottom line is, this is what the discussion kind of led to. And with this girl, the one night on third shift that I talked to about this other individual who just doesn't want to work. So I kind of looked around and, like, we have our own areas now. We do all the work in our own areas. Before I was doing this whole entire building by myself, doing everything in all these areas, and it was extremely, extremely difficult. Like, it was really, really hard for me to do. So I finally, wow, it's funny. I make this joke. I always tell people my name is Fernando when I don't want to, like, confess up to something. And I had to add this girl because her name is Fernanda. So I doubt she'll add me, but I hope she does because this woman's name she's really, like, not bad looking at all. But her name's Fernanda on Facebook. Yeah, but the bottom line is, you know, you don't tell people that, hey, you need to do your job, my job for you, because it's just way too difficult for me to do. Yeah, well, if your job's too difficult and you really can't handle it, that means you are either A, insubordinate, and because you can't do your job or you're not doing it correctly, or B, look for another fucking job, because if you can't do it, that means you're not capable of doing it, so you're not qualified to do the job, and it's janitorial. So either way, so this really pissed off this one girl. Really cute girl on third shift. It's funny, this one particular girl that I talked to, she made sure right away, I told this friend, and it's the truth. She told me right away, oh, I have a boyfriend. So I hear this all the time. Every woman just automatically, female, thinks I'm going to automatically hit on them. So I can't win with that one. It's ridiculous. So that's number one, but she's really good to talk to. Oh, wow. Poor people. This guy is, what do you call that? I'm sorry, I'm looking at a picture. 76 years of bad luck. Scroll down with and like and share. I think I did share it. I'm going to share it again. Black young couple, because I don't think they're 76 years old, but they're both, it's cute because they're both, is it like paraplegic or something? A cute black girl and a cute black guy, good looking guy, but he's like, his legs look like sticks because he's been in a chair all his life, and it's very cute, but it's very depressing too. I feel bad. Sorry about that. I just got distracted again, obviously. So she got in this discussion, but she said with this girl who doesn't want to do her work, like she feels that she should not be held accountable for doing all this work. She basically said to me, iWalter, that, hey, in my old department, Walt, there's these older women, like they've been there for a long time. They're professionals, supposedly. It's not very professional what they do. If you really pissed them off as a janitor or a person that was a glorified janitor, you really pissed them off, they would basically reciprocate you being a shithead to them by them, quote unquote, she said they would get trash and they would pile it up in a bag and hide the trash bag, and then they would take like little tie wraps and other garbage, and then they would hide it, the garbage bag of all this stuff, and they would wait until like you weren't there, and then they would put it all out. So excuse me, they would put it all out and dump it all over the floor, and then we get the management in there, and it would say to the management, yeah, let's say it was me. Oh, you know what? Walter is not doing his job. Look at all this trash all over the floor, like gaskets and tie wraps and garbage and paper and plastic. They literally just take it and chuck it all over the room. They take handfuls of garbage and chuck it all over the room. This is what she said they would do in her old department. So she said with this girl, this other girl who is a janitor like me, she says the next time I know she's working, I learned this from the old timers, and she said I never believed in that. She said I would never do this, but after seeing what this janitor on day shift, I'm second shift, has created as a problem, and tell him, listen, you need to help me out. If you need to do your share of my work. And she's only got like a small area to do that. She said, I never believed in this before, Walter, but at this point, I'm going to do that. I'm going to dump garbage all over the floor and say she's not doing her job. So that alone is just entertaining. I'm hoping this is recorded, by the way, because it seems like it stopped for a second. I had this problem in the past. It hasn't done it in a while. And this is on my laptop, which it normally never does that. So, Yeah, so I mean, it was like, wow. I've told this to my friend Matt, and he doesn't believe me because he thinks I exaggerate all these stories that people will deliberately make me look like I'm not doing my job. And it's like, no, if you really piss off people, they will do this. They will, without a doubt, they will do this, and it's true. So again, it kind of made me feel much better that, hey, I'm not exaggerating this stuff. This stuff really goes on. And it's not me just losing my mind, which I've already had, and close to doing it again as I get older. But yeah, it was like amazing, astonishing to hear some girl say this from my third shift at my job, who's like a higher up. I said to a friend too, I'm not saying this to be mean or looking for sympathy, but I work at a place that literally is ran like it is without a doubt. It used to not be this way. When I first started, it was not this way. It's a caste system. So, and I explained to him why it's a caste system. It's not that I'm trying to bitch and complain. Oh my God, I work for a caste system. I need to quit this job. Please feel sorry for me right now. I'm going to turn into a snowflake, which I'm not. The sole purpose why I'm saying this, because it's true, by the way. Well, that's pretty cool. Sorry, I had the swallow. It truly is true. It is a caste system. It's because when you come in, like I came in as a janitor years ago. I came with a college degree, but I came in as a janitor. And years ago, you could go from a janitor to someday working your way up all the way to like management position. That's just an example. That's how I explain it to my friend. I'm not going to go into grave detail because I can get myself in a lot of trouble if I do. That has changed. You don't have that possibility. You have to come in with the proper degree to move up the chain of command. Before, that was not the issue. Years ago, you could come in, again, high school diploma. Yes, they still do, but you would do it with a lot less work. You could work your way up to a higher position with very little schooling. Not a whole bunch, but very little schooling. Or just by being there for years and spending enough time at the place, you could work your way up to higher management without even having a degree. That stuff is no longer there. It's all basically a caste system. You come in at a position, and you're going to stay at that position until the day you quit. It's the bottom line. It has changed in that direction. So, yeah. So I don't have a problem with that, honestly, because I get paid well enough that it's an idiot job. You don't have to think. I'm fine with that to a point. So again, hearing this girl at work on third shift saying, "Hey, you know what? Everything, like pretty much what I've said on this iWalter for how long now, is absolutely like pretty much it's true. I'm not making up." That made me feel much better. So that's what I wanted to get at with that. Now I'm at an hour and a half, and I still haven't even touched like really mainly any of my stories. So I gotta do that now. I gotta do that. Now this is pretty cool. If I ever wanted to dress up in drag, I'd probably do this. Not that I would, for Halloween, I mean, not for everyday life. They got a Lady Gaga costume when she was dressed up like a skeleton in one of her videos with on this Halloween costume site. The whole 9 yards, you can buy it. It's not that expensive. When she did that for one of her music videos. It was like really popular one too. She did. So that's kind of cool. I guess obviously her costumes have made it to the Halloween shop, which I'm sure it did years ago. Yeah, not important. I know. Yeah, I got a ticket for Lady Gaga. I got one for now because I never seen her. Was Deborah Harry and Blondie and Garbage again too. So that was like kind of cool as well. Sorry, I'm trying to get this to load so I can Load. It's a load. So, folks, I doubt I'm going to get any listeners from this show. I kind of hope I do, but load. Let's see. Upload in picture. Okay, there we go. So I'm going to go back to my stories. I hope I didn't shut those down again because I opened up so much stuff at this point. I'm going to go finally to my stories, considering it's taken me this long to get this far. Let's see, folks. Let's see. Yeah, somebody's so anyway, yeah, I told you it was going to be a lot of complaining. And the thing with Trump was interesting. I was telling you about that Rush. But I don't know if I actually finished that story. I don't think I finished any story. I started tonight for an hour and a half. But bottom line is Rush did talk to on Fox. He was talking on Fox. I forget the name of that show now. I don't know if I want to go back now. See if I can find it real quick. Bottom line is, I came to the realization that I learned that if anybody else would have got it like Ted Cruz, that he probably by now would have probably buckled in. That's just my guess. That's my educated guess. I'm not saying he would. I'm just saying that the possibility was definitely there. So it says Rush on Fox Sunday with Chris Wallace. It was early yesterday morning, I guess, and I missed it. I accidentally missed it. So there was that. Yeah, I got very easily distracted with a lot of stuff tonight, unfortunately, so I apologize. So Trump, keep it up. Keep up the good work, my man, because if you don't, we're all, people don't realize this really fucked. And I was talking about I kind of came to the realization this boss at work, this higher up, which I still have respect for her, but I think she is a millennial. She obviously thinks I'm hitting on her, and it's like you're missing the point that you can continue to just ignore, what I'm trying to do to improve the workplace when it comes down that you're the one, when the higher ups ask you, who is the higher up of all the bosses within our area. Like, she's responsible, this woman, for 2 different buildings. She is the head boss for 2 different buildings. When it comes down to this one particular building where it's really got issues and they're not getting resolved, and I'm out for a length of time, taking a vacation week or something like that, and things will fall apart because, trust me, after one day, things fell apart. I was off for 1 day last week, and the whole place just fell apart. You can answer, and I'll just say, I don't know what's going on. Hey, you got me. That's what's going to end up happening. So, because I get to the point I get tired of fighting tooth and nail. When you're that type of position, you gotta start to grow up a little bit. Like I said to my one girlfriend, Tammy Hargrove, 30 years ago, I told her she needed to grow up. So I'm going to say the same thing to my area. What do you call it? I can't even think of the name of it. Higher up boss. The boss of bosses. So anyway, it was kind of interesting. One thing at work, we use these things we call Metro carts. These green carts. And every time I see them, like, you have to roll them in these hallways. They're green wired racks with like things you put. We used to use similar things like this when I worked at Kmart years ago in Eagleville. We used these Metro carts. And it was really ridiculous because somebody came up with a harebrained scheme that we should unbox everything, all our freight, put them on these Metro carts and push out in these wheeled carts, wire carts, all the merchandise that had to go on the store shelves. You know how long that had taken? Had taken forever. And you were bumping into people because these things weren't easy to maneuver. So anyway, what was I going to say? I'm sorry, I'm looking what's on TV. It's Mary Tyler Moore. I can't believe she passed away, by the way, like last month. It's hard to believe. She's always been there. So anyway, yeah, that actually failed at Walmart, by the way, too, because Walmart used to do that. They used to have these Metro carts. No, not Metro carts. They actually pull the skids out. It was, like I said, I worked at Kmart. They used to push these Metro carts. You had to unpack everything from the freaking freight on these skids and pallets, put them on Metro carts, and move things out individually. It's like had taken forever to do it that way, and it was a real pain in the ass. So the reason, anyway, the only reason I'm mentioning this, because I always joke with people when we push these Metro carts, I say, listen, it kind of reminds me being down the shore when they have these things called tram cars, because I thought they were called tram cars. Some people say, oh, it's called train car. No, it's called tram car. I have it right in front of me. So there's an article I found. I'm not going to read the article. It says, watch the tram car, please. Meet the faces behind the Wildwood Poplar Boardwalk voices. And it shows a man, because it sounds like a woman's voice. It says voice of the boardwalk. And they're showing this guy, which it honestly sounds like a woman's voice. So, unfortunately, I didn't know this, but the tram car thing is strictly for Wildwood, New Jersey. They said Ocean City actually had taken the same voice, because they have tram cars too, TRAM, and they copy the voice. So there's a little bit of a problem there. Yeah, it says roam the Wildwood Boardwalk enough, and the voices start to become familiar. So what I found was there's actually a phone tune for "Watch the Tram Car, Please." Watch the tram car. Let me see if I can find it. Let me see if I can remove my mic and actually turn on my thing and see if I can play it for people, because I think it's hilarious. So, here, wait. I'm going to actually have to turn on my speaker for a minute, too. Oh, it is on. I didn't turn off my speaker. So I'm going to play this for a minute, because I have to find it. I think it's hilarious. I'm very easily amused, but I when I'm at work with these Metro carts, getting back to that, I joke with people, and I say when I push this Metro cart in the hallway at my job, watch the tram car, please. Watch the tram car. And people, some find it amusing because it's something that it still goes on in Wildwood, but I just find it very entertaining. I get easily amused. I have to amuse myself, and that's how I do it. So let me see if I can find this right now under my plethora of garbage shit I have up. And open my downloads and see if I can do this. Oh, wow, it got buried. It's an actual audio file, folks. This is hilarious to me. Well, it's actually under yesterday's news. And here we go. See if this plays. Let's see if I can get it. Doing it right now.
Watch the tram car, please. Watch the tram car, please. Watch the tram car, please.
Okay, so that's the tram car thing. And again, I find that entertaining. When you're down in Wildwood, or now Ocean City, apparently, you will hear that. Let me make sure. So I say that's the actual voice. And, again, I get easily amused. So, yeah, I was doing that, and it's like, okay, I want to put this on my cell phone. When I'm at work and I'm pushing stuff around that has to go into our areas, to my areas now, my particular areas, and I see people in the hallway, I'm going to make sure I have my cell phone. I'm going to put that on there. I'm going to play that soundbite and see how many people I get to turn around, but I got to put it in a loop. Like I had it in a loop. I don't know if the iPhone has a loop thing you can do, because when it's on a loop, it's basically how it sounds down the shore then. Because that's all it is. So again, it's not even that I have too much time on my hands. It's just I'm that crazy. So there's a difference, I think. Okay, so I pulled up some old stories because I was just curious. One was on, which I haven't got to yet, Welcome Back, Carter. And it was the fact that Woody Call played Arnold Horshack. I remember this from years ago. The man passed away because he played in one of the Friday the 13th. That was number one. Number two was, which she got extremely scary looking. She was scary to begin with, was Nicole Bass. She used to be on Howard Stern. And she literally, and it's probably, she died. Now, I think what probably killed her, no offense, is apparently she did at one point look like a woman, but she was so heavy on steroids that steroids for a woman is going to make them more masculine if you take too many, or the amount that she had taken, which she was literally on. Nicole Bass was on a lot of steroids to get as big as she did. She claimed that she wasn't, but without a doubt she was. I would assume. And she had the body of a woman, but was very muscular, and she had a face and the voice of a man. Like when you heard her, and she claimed that, oh no, I never believed in, I never took steroids. It's like, yeah, you kind of did, and it's kind of obvious because you look like a man. So and she died at 52. So they have a picture of her, I guess, not too long before she died, and she got extremely heavy, like really big. And that's another sign of a person who takes steroids, because when you stop working out and you take a lot of steroids, it's all going to turn to fat, and that's basically what happened to her. Now, my curiosity is, what did she look like before she took all these steroids? Because obviously, I still think, and Howard used to bust on her about this, and she accepted the fact that she got her claim to fame from this, is that, what is it? That she looked like a man. I mean, seriously, she definitely looked like a transsexual. A man that basically got surgery done, got his penis removed, and got breast implants, because that's exactly what she looked like. My curiosity, I should say, the thing I'm curious about, was there a point in time that she actually looked like a woman? Or, was she a woman? Was she a man? Because when you look at, because I'm looking at him now, by the way, all the pictures I see of her, she looks like a man. I mean, she literally looks like a man. And yeah, there's a picture of Stern, and I guess right before she passed away, and she got, she got extremely heavy. She got really ebby. Her body, to a point, looks like a woman, but, women will say what they want, and yeah, she definitely looks like a man in this one picture. She really looks like a man. But I'm 50 years old, and she was 2 years older than me when she passed away a couple years ago. And again, I'm just kind of curious, was she always like a masculine looking woman? Sorry about that. Was she always a masculine looking woman? Or was there some point in time that Nicole, actually, before all this nonsense of working out and shit, that she actually, looked like a woman, and that, because steroids will change a woman's her I can't even think of the right word. You start taking on masculine features when you start doing heavy steroids, just to get more muscular. So I really like to know that. Like, Matt, if you're not really pissed at me, because you're here part of my show, and say, I can't believe Walter said that about me. Why didn't he tell me right to my face? He has to say it on his damn show. He hasn't done one in a month, and now he's talking about me behind my back. So if you get past that, Matt, if you can find a picture when Nicole Bass, or anyone for that matter, can find a picture when Nicole Bass actually looks like a woman, I honestly would like to see that. And it's strictly because I'm curious. I mean, because I heard the horror stories of what, steroids can do to these women. And, men get accused of taking steroids, in sports and other things, but obviously it's not going to be that noticeable in a man if he takes steroids. If it makes him more masculine, well, it's not going to hurt his outlook. It's going to actually, probably actually improve, if anything. So, and I think she was married too, Nicole. She married some guy at one point. Yeah. His spouse was Robert Fuchs or something like that. Looks like Fuchs. Not the other word, but yeah, it looked like Fuchs. Yeah, she, and I think maybe, I personally, I think the steroids, most likely, I mean, they have nasty side effects. It probably most likely shortened her life, because if she was only 52, that's not old at all. Like 50s is like the new 30s. So, for her to be that young and to die, just my guess is that she, she probably was on steroids, and it said she was a WW wrestler too. Or maybe she got into that later, because I never really stuck around with Nicole. Again, I was just curious, because I swear to God, even when I used to watch Howard Stern on TV years ago, I swore that was a man. There's no way that's a woman at all. Yeah, it says wow, this story is really freaky. It says Nicole Bass was taken off of life support, officially announced dead at 52. Now, how old is this story, though? It says news, the 20th of February, 2017, so she just died this year. According to, Cage Seatside's former bodybuilder and professional wrestler Nicole Bass Fuchs passed away on Friday night shortly after being taken off of life support. She died at 52. Following the sad demise, Nicole's partner, Christine Marone, posted this Von Bass Facebook page. So I'm really shocked that this wasn't actually... See, I don't listen to Stern anymore, but this actually was just announced not too long ago about her dying. She just passed away not too long ago, like a couple weeks ago. So that's pretty weird. Actually, it said it was in USA Today. Again, I don't watch much of the news, so that's pretty weird. Yeah, she just passed away. Apparently, she was really popular back in the day. She was only 52, so she's only 2 years older than me then. Update was on February 17th. So there you go. Oh, wait. Updated February 17th was a couple days ago. No, but she just passed away, I assume. My assumption is, wow, I didn't know. Let's see. Died February 17th, 2017. So, folks, I am really sorry about that. She only passed away 3 days ago. So that is very new news. I thought it was like an old story, like she passed away and it happened like a couple years ago. And there's a reason why I mentioned that. But, yeah, I'm sorry to hear Nicole Bass passed away. God, that's horrible. She only died like 3 days ago. Or she was on life support, but she passed. Officially, she died 3 days ago. So I'm sure Stern is definitely... that was one of the people he used to always, pick on, but he also had a lot of respect for Nicole, too. So I'm sure if I listened to Howard, I'm sure he would mention that. But I really think she was on steroids. Now, the one my one friend picked on me about, which I don't appreciate, was Ron, what is it, Paoloni or something? The guy who played Arnold Horseshack. I'll just cut to the chase. Folks, I know the man passed away. He passed away like 5 years ago, according to this. Excuse me. From Welcome Back, Carter, Mr. Kata. He passed away at the age of 63. And, I thought he died even earlier on than that. I thought he died even back in the 90s or something. I didn't know he just passed away a few years ago. Like 5 years ago. So that's where this smart-ass friend of mine basically posts that, hey, Lincoln just passed away. It's like, dude, don't be an asshole. The reason I brought that up, just to let you know, was basically, this is the God's honest truth. The reason I brought that up was because I just recently, not too long ago, I'm using that word again, had bought the series of Welcome Back, Carter, because I got it for like $30 online. It was like, yeah, you know what? This is one of these shows they're constantly showing on MeTV, and it's like, yeah, that's like a classic show I remember growing up, and I forget when that came out, that show. So maybe I'll look right now, because I can't remember. Let's see. This would be an easy one. I can Welcome Back, Kata. Let's see. No, this came up on something else. It is actually a really good show. I'm just trying to look for the year it came out. Honestly, I know it was in the 70s, but when in the 70s, I have no clue. Description, episodes. I'm just trying to find an easy way to do this. And it came up on iTunes. So, please forgive me again. And it's going to be quiet. Welcome back, Carter. 1975. Okay, I didn't know that. So the only one who actually established himself, and he actually still looks really good, is John Travolta. He actually looks good again. I think he lost weight. But that man has made a career. How old is John Travolta? He's 63. So I didn't know that. So John Travolta is also 63. And he's still alive. Now, the woman who played his Carter's wife, she was really hot, and she passed away. She was born in 1948, and she died in 2014. And she was very tall, too. I didn't know that. I know she had like kind of, what do you call it? She was built like a board, like a 2x4. But for some reason, she had a really like adorable, really cute face. And as she had gotten older, and there was a couple episodes she looked really hot in. But as she progressively got older, she actually looked just as good. So, surprisingly, she looked, oh, wow, there's a picture of her with short shorts on. Now, she had like really no build, but that picture of these short shorts on, she looks really hot. But yeah, it was a shame. I can't pronounce Marsa or something. There's later on in life, she dyed her hair blonde, and she looks even more incredible than she did as a brunette. But yeah, she actually filled out a little bit too. She actually grew some breasts, which she never had when she was younger. For some reason, when women get older, it seems maybe is it the saggage? I don't know, but she actually got more incredible looking. But I actually liked her, too. I never thought much about her. I never even thought twice about her when I was a kid. But, again, as she got older, she got, like, actually better looking. If that's, usually they say men age more, age very gracefully or whatever, and women just go the other direction. But, no, she went the opposite direction. But she's passed away, I'm sorry to say. So, Matt, I'm not going to meet any of these people. But I'm just saying. So, as nutty as John Travolta had gotten, he actually has kept himself in pretty damn good shape, so to speak. He got heavy for that one movie, and it seemed like he never lost weight. But he's kept himself in pretty good shape otherwise over the years. At 63. See, the one thing I take into consideration, oh, by the way, one of the films the guy at work recommended, and it got really high ratings, was this movie called The Legacy, 1978. So that was one recommended. He said, oh, yeah, this movie was really, really scary when I was a kid. Recommended it. I looked at it on Rotten Tomatoes, and it got almost like a perfect rating. But anyway, I just had it because that was up right now, so I don't want to forget about that. So thank you. It was a guy named Brian at work, so thank you. Yeah, so I'm watching Welcome Back, Carter right now. That's why you might hear me talk a lot about that. And by the way, it's going on 2 hours now. It's unbelievable. And I still haven't mentioned, I apologize, I did lose track of time. The show that my friend Rich Minjan got me into, I watched the whole thing. I marathoned it because I got so engrossed in it. Highly recommend Mr. Robot. A very good show. The show takes the first season and the second season are completely different. Give you a quick thing because it is over 2 hours. It's going to be over 2 hours right now. Mr. Robot basically is about a hacker. Who tries to create anarchy. And the reason he tries to create anarchy is not for the reason that, yes, it does seem that way in the first season. If you watch it, fuck the government, get rid of government control, get rid of big corporations, blah, blah, blah. Well, you got to watch the whole thing through to understand it. Now, I showed it to a conservative friend at work, and he marathoned through it. Like, he's on the same boat I am. We are both ultra-conservative people, me and this one friend at work. But I said to him, just to let you know, I'm going to give you some highlights before you just brush this show off because it's, it's an anarchist show. You need to understand where it's coming from and where it's going because the second season takes a whole different thing. So he stuck with it. He watched the whole thing. He's ready for the second season, which the next time I see him, I ask him for season 1 back, and I'll give him season 2, but I'm going to give him the digital copies. I don't even need those because I like having the hard copies. I don't want digital copies anyway. So bottom line is he watched it. He enjoyed it. So just letting you know, that is the show. And I went overboard with Mr. Robot. That also ties into something I started and didn't finish with these loot crates because there was a loot crate for Mr. Robot. Didn't have any clue what this all was about because it kind of gave you the impression there's a mask that this person wears to give information to people on the media and on the internet, the character. And he wears this mask that looks like similar to Guy Fawkes. And it was like, okay, I don't really like this whole Guy Fawkes thing. In fact, at one point I kind of try to avoid it like the plague because it's like, okay, this is not cool. If this guy is like into Guy Fawkes, he's definitely not the man for me. A show like this I can't watch. So I kind of like didn't know where the premise was going, and I asked my friend Rich, and he says, is this like supposed to be like a Guy Fawkes thing? He says, well, yeah, it is. And it was like, but then the second season, for, spoiler alert, second season kind of shot that down, and I guess somewhere in the chain of command, because the guy who actually writes the show, Esmel, he actually does believe in the whole kind of like Guy Fawkes anarchist thing, I think. Don't quote me on this. But he does go for all that stuff, kind of, I think, again. So, yeah, so it was like, well, this is kind of not cool also, because, goes against my beliefs. But at the same time, I'll whatever. I got myself confused with the stuff. But I stuck with it. The second season, excuse me, they shot that whole idea down of it being Guy Fawkes. So again, if the guy who is in charge of writing the show, Esmel, is for anarchy. And I know it was an it's the same thing, by the way. He's for Occupy Wall Street. It was like, dude, that's kind of not cool for me. I'm actually totally against Occupy Wall Street because I know what it stands for, and it was just made up whole thing from the Democrats to left. So I really don't have an appreciation in that part. I don't like the fact that you are for all this shit. But at the same time, someone on the show, probably a light bulb went off and said, you know what? This whole thing that's supposed to represent Guy Fawkes with this mask that this one character wears, we need to kind of shut this down and make sure this doesn't go any further. So the second season, they made a fake horror movie based upon the mask. This whole realm, or this whole thing is based upon a Halloween mask that you pick up at a convenience store or whatever. And it is on this character from a horror movie. So it was like that I could appreciate. And it was like, wow, somebody actually did their thing that, hey, they don't want to cut off any audience members because they got something that's going here, a good show. They don't want to ruin it. And by the way, I'm going to have to take a break for a minute. I got to take a whiz. So I'm going to take a break right now. There will be no interruption after that. And there will be no stop when I come back. No, intermission thing. Okay, I told you I wasn't going to do an intermission, and I did not, so I'm just going to continue on where I left off. I was just checking my last few seconds. You don't notice it, but I do. So anyway, give you a little rundown. Mr. Robot is an excellent show. You definitely want to watch it. And the thing about it, though, there's some, like, it's somebody who actually has an intelligence. Maybe it's not, stuff you will agree about, but these people obviously put a lot of thought into this show because they put like a whole living, breathing background into these characters, into the storyline, to everything else. So that part intrigued me. The main character is psychologically, he is like pretty much he's crazy. He's nuts. That alone it would kind of like justifies the stuff that he's been doing. And the thing is, the stuff you see with this character, you are seeing the show through his eyes. In fact, more so in the second season, he talks directly to you. Like you're the third person that he is talking to. Instead of him being the third person that you kind of find out with some shows, like, okay, the third person is... I think that's the way it goes, if I remember correctly. The third person is them, like you're looking in on them. He's actually looking out and talking to you. The audience member is, he adds you into as a, participating character in his world, this main character in Mr. Robot. The word or the story behind Mr. Robot, that is explained on the show. Mr. Robot is explained on show, what it's all about. That's number one. So I'm not going to say anything. The thing with this mask, which is based upon a horror movie, which you don't find out until the second season, which is already saying too much. Let's see. You can go to... I took a screenshot. Careful. Massacre of the Borgages or something. BOURGEOISIE 1984 VHS RIP MPEG 4. The following presentation is intended for mature audiences only and is not recommended for viewers under the age of 18. It contains graphic violence, nudity, drug use, adult dialogue, and strong language. Viewer discretion is advised. So they actually made a video tape up, a fake one. Be kind, please rewind. It has E-Corp. If you watch the show, you know what E-Corp would be about. And it's a horror movie that is based upon where the mask originated from on Mr. Robot. So it's got a whole thing. It's even got a diary that is kept by the main character in the second season. He writes a diary on his delusional state. He keeps a very precise diary, and it's called The Red Wheelbarrow. The Red Wheelbarrow is a poem, and they said if you understand the poem, you will understand the premise of the TV series. That's how far they had taken this. So you can buy that on Amazon, The Red Wheelbarrow. It's basically a handwritten diary. Every book looks like it's handwritten. It's got all the stuff he keeps in his delusional state, this main character, who was very smart, too. So this has got many levels, but it basically, the first series is the rise of what he's trying to get done. It's the rise and fall of this main character. The second season goes a completely different direction. I think I might have lost all my stories at this point. So maybe from being on too long, it shut down my internet for some stupid reason. This is not cool. Because if I shut these down, I'm like really screwed. And this is on a SSD drive, so this is not supposed to happen. So kind of weird that it is. And I hate to dig up these stories again. I'm going to see what I can do to figure out. I didn't expect this to happen either. Oh, but so I recommend that show, by the way, Mr. Robot. So it's just my opinion. Let's see if I can cut and paste these onto a new link because they are actually not working. I got one story on a light note. It was kind of funny. It's about animals, cats. Adorable kitten meows like she's a sheep. So I couldn't believe it. It's like, I got to see this. And I have it on my Facebook page. And literally, this cat does not, it's a kitten. It's a kitten. But instead of meowing, the kitten does actually sound like it's a sheep. So it's pretty funny. It's pretty funny. So to lighten the mood, I'm trying to pull these stories. Okay, so I did that one. A sex offender. Let's see, from Jersey. Let me see. I'm gonna have to just cut and paste each story one by one and pray that eventually I'll get to the end before 3 hours. Some story I found on New Jersey's website: sex offender seen in lewd act at Heathrow Bar or Hawthorne Bar. Cops say 55-year-old borough man and registered sex offender had been arrested on lewdness, charged after being observed fouling himself at a bar. I don't know where people come up with these ideas to do this crap. I really don't. Let's see. If I can shut down some of these stories as I go along, that might actually help. I mentioned I got Lady Gaga, and then there's a two-tour type thing with two other entertainers of Garbage, which I saw last year. And then in addition to that, it was also Blondie with Deborah Harry. That was something I actually was kind of looking forward to going to see. Considering. Let me check this out. I'm trying to, again, shut down stories, and eventually maybe the other ones will open up. No. Oh, these are pretty interesting. Tim Allen blackballed by Hollywood for saying this about Trump. So apparently, I didn't read the thing yet. In the liberal Hollywood, it's rare to find celebrities that are willing to take risk in careers. Speaking of out against Democrats this week, it was Tim Allen. So he actually is, I assume, because it's actually after hour 2. I don't want to make it hour 3 going on hour 4. So I'm going to kind of just guesstimate. It said February 17th. He actually spoke up for Trump, is my assumption. So the people that are stepping forth and saying, hey, I do like Donald, I may not like Donald Trump in the past, but I'm going to support him, they're all getting blackballed. Which, speaking of which, is breaking news. Morgan Freeman, on the 18th, also risked his entire career to back up Trump in a heroic way. So, and I think Freeman at first was originally not for Trump. I'm not sure. So that was kind of interesting. Let's see. I thought there were some other celebrities. Let's see. I'm going to have to open another page. It was working for a second there, and now it just kind of shut down again. No, I don't need that one. Alrighty, so these, no good. Okay, I think it's, what do you call it? There's another one from the Patriots. That one, I think everybody probably heard it about this point, because that was amazing with Lady Gaga. If I was off that week. That's another reason I didn't do it that one Sunday. I was actually watching the Super Bowl. I actually watched the whole thing this time, too, and paid attention, which I never do. Patriots players boycott White House visit. So Tom Brady does something unthinkable, because Tom Brady actually does support Donald Trump as well. So that was really cool. These are all from, it says, World Today 24-hour news. That was on the 13th. That was the day before Valentine's. So that one was pretty cool. Let me just get rid of that. I'm not gonna go through the whole thing on these. I think that was the last one on that type. Let me just read this, because this was my hometown of Norristown. And if I can do it. And I'm trying to pull it up now. It was funny because I get all these horrific stories that I love to read in the past, and they're on the Dream and Demon. Now, generally, they're in every state, nowhere around where I live. Pennsylvania. Well, actually, there has been a couple in Pennsylvania. But I live in Norristown. This one was actually from Norristown, PA, on the 18th of February. So that was like 2 days ago. Norristown, PA. A daycare teacher is jobless and facing charges after admitting to police that he had sexually assaulted a 3-year-old girl in his care because she called him stupid. So this guy was 32 years old, and he sexually assaulted a little girl at 3 years old around my area where I live, because she called him stupid. Kids will say the damnedest things. So it's a black gentleman who basically sexually assaulted a 3-year-old girl. So really, really smart dude. I already mentioned this. Actually, I did not mention this. There was a photo. So they're actually going to incorporate that into the movie of Justice League. But this guy named Matt Reeves wants to not direct the Batman movie that Ben Affleck was supposed to afflict with whoever's making the film. The production company, I don't know which one it is. Is it Warner with these people and how he wanted the script to roll out that he's going to be playing it in. Not Ben Affleck, who has also said, listen, I call it quits. I can't deal with this anymore. Maybe you people need to kind of let go what the directors want to do. Maybe even try to get Ben Affleck back. Right? Because I actually am one of the few people who thought Ben Affleck did an excellent job playing Batman. And not only did you convince him, I know this is not the end of the world. It's not that important. It's kind of loads of money. So... Oh, I don't know if I told you. Well, I didn't. Is a gay man who is ultra conservative, well-spoken man. He is crying and whimpering is not to worry about because he is a gay gentleman. And he proved to me, this friend of mine, Todd, that he doesn't listen to my messages. He claims Lynn speaker, and actually convinced me that the guy's like really cool for being a gay dude. Listen to me, and now all of a sudden he's telling me you shouldn't listen to Milo Yiannopoulos. A year after the fact, you want me to listen to somebody I've listened to for how long now? So I just basically got caught in your own lie. And I even caught him, because you're pretending you listen to my messages. I actually suffer and listen through his. It's just like, dude, you're a dick. And he finds excuses for everything. Who's got issues? He's got health issues. He's not doing very well, and I feel sorry for that. An hourly waged person, you're not working full-time, but yet woofed too many times. It's exactly what it is. He ended up telling the truth, and nobody wanted to hear him because they got tired of his bullshit. I don't even care if the world blows up around your part of the state. I might have found this. I don't even give two shits. But I do give shits about what it's about. It says, this is fun. Rather than being arrested, move to Canada and stay. I'm going to say, listen, we're going to have to shut down our borders now because we're overpopulated with all these non-speaking things. That happened in Germany. So, Spanish-speaking people. But the bottom line, in your country for in basically behavior like they did in our country, that's going to change the same way it changed with the migrants. Really took a nosedive, and it's almost 2.5 hours almost. Real quick, Daily Mail. Couple gave their daughter 5 to a stranger on Valentine's Day and then vanished, are arrested. Shane White, 37, and Lacey Allen, 32, from Baton Rouge, allegedly left her daughter with a stranger. Caucasians officials visited the motel where the couple were living and found it was filthy. Their other daughter, 2, was found in a car, some type of vehicle, piled with used diapers. The couple were arrested and charged with child desertion and 2 counts of cruelty to juveniles. So one is definitely a millennial. The other one, I don't know, but they just seem like they could just continue to obviously procreate and not deal with the consequences that they had these offspring that they weren't taking care of, because they did not take care of them at all. Then put it in layman's terms, they did not take care of these children. So that's wonderful. That is the kind of bullshit, by the way, I just want to see completely, stop in this country. And when it does, and I think it will, I'll be definitely happy. Let's see what else I have, folks, because it's going to probably, either way, going to be a 3-hour show. I am kind of, literally whittling like a piece of wood, whittling down these stories. Okay, here's a good one. It's not a bad story. Face transplant recipient ecstatic with his new look, and it actually looks really damn good. This guy, I don't know what the problem was or what happened to him. A suicidal Wyoming man so intended of ending his life that he shoved a gun in his mouth and pulled the trigger now has a new lease on life thanks to a miraculous surgery that gave him another person's face. It's incredible, by the way, folks, how far this came. It was a young guy, too. Yeah, he shot himself. Yeah, and it looks incredible, though. Yeah, there's some highlights in this story. It's a shame that the kid did this. He literally lost everything, dental and everything. I mean, he had the gun in his mouth, so what do you expect? He had no face, no nose, no face. And they gave him a complete face transplant, and the guy looks incredible. I mean, it really, I'm not even saying this just to, this was on the New York Post. He looks really good. So, he kind of looks like a different person, but at the same time, I mean, that's what I need to do. Maybe if I get a face transplant, I might have better luck with women. Well, actually, my mouth would, well, if I kept my mouth shut, then I'd be fine. If I got a brand new face and just kept my mouth shut, I probably would have a new lease in life. But that's amazing how far this has come, or how far this came, that you can actually successfully, and it looks really damn good. It looks really good. His new face. I mean, it looks very convincing. So that is a cool story. Oh, shoot. I just lost one story. It was a story on Lady Gaga being at the Super Bowl, and I got some pictures up too. That was actually incredible. She did a really good job, Lady Gaga, at the Super Bowl. But then she surprises people again, because I think she was at some type of awards where she plays with, Metallica, singing with James Hetfield. I make this joke because my friend Matt always makes that joke about calling him some guy he knew from years ago called James Hetfield James Hatfield, or Jim Hatfield, or something like that, George Hatfield, something like that. But she did a really good job, and I was very impressed. She did an excellent job. Was that like some award show or something? Which one was it? Grammys or something? I don't know. I don't follow this stuff. I don't really care. But my mom got me. I was in the middle of watching something, and my mother got me out of my room and said, yeah, Lady Gaga's on, but she looks so different. And it was like, yeah, well, that's no shock. Because, yeah. No, but she did a really good job, I thought. So it's kind of interesting that she can do many different faces, types of music. She's done jazz, she's done pop, she's done rock now. What is Metallica? Is that rock or is that metal? I don't even know. So now this is one story I actually wanted to get to open up, but it's not opening up. So, okay. This was an interesting story because my friend Matt, another one I have to pick on you about, kind of, but it's not quite the same way as you're going to tell me as the way I describe about these millennials or people without jobs being out all night, because it does improve either one. I'll tell you right now. But this was from Chicago, a story. 4 dead, 3 injured in a 3-car crash in Des Plaines. What does that mean? Des Plaines? I don't know. I'm trying to make a joke out of it. I did a really bad job. 4 people were killed and 3 were injured in a 3-car vehicle accident in northwest suburban Des Plaines. Now, the thing is, though, the person who initiated this accident was some guy that was driving at extremely high speeds who got killed in a Mercedes-Benz at like late hours at night. But there's different cars, and the problem is, I hate to tell you, but I've seen this more and more. You got all these younger, maybe not teens, but you got a lot of millennials who have way too much time on their hands. They're occupying cars in other vehicles that are way over what they can afford to buy because they probably basically leased them. Do you have a way to prove this, Walter? Well, I probably wouldn't be that hard. Let me put it that way. They're not going to go into all those details anyway. But you hear about these. I hear this from my parents. I hear it from friends. You see these younger people. You see these women, blah, blah, blah. I'm going by other people's perspective. By the way, this accident happened Thursday of last week before 9 p.m. And I'm hearing this stuff, so I'm going by what they tell me, too, that these people are total morons. There was a guy at work one time. He told me, yeah, he says, I hate women drivers. He said, there's this one woman driver. He's a married man. He's a really nice guy. He doesn't ever speak up. And he said that this woman, just for no reason at all, just stopped her car and waited till the light turned red and didn't move to make, like, either turn or go straight or whatever. She waited for it to turn green again, and then he basically had to go around her because she was not moving. She was, like, in a state of a trance. And you can say what you like, Matt. You could even say, well, maybe these people just have too much on their mind. It's always that everybody else has fucking something on their mind. It can't be that these people just don't give two shits about anything except themselves. It can never be that. But guess what? When you got a bunch of dirtbags and lowlifes, I'm sorry to say this, or people who just sponge off the government like there's no tomorrow, which is generally most of the times the case, you get plenty of idiots like this. I'm sorry. So, I'm just speaking. This is some fucking show that nobody listens to anyway, Matt. So, I got like 0 listeners for about a month now. 0 listeners. You and I are the only one who listens to this, dude. Nobody else. Not even Ed Rick. I can't even get that dude to listen to me. And I love Ed Rick. He's a cool dude. Matt, I love you too. So, I spread the love. How's that? I'm not going to say that about Todd because he gets on my nerves. More so than you do, Matt. And that's saying a lot. Anyway, back to more nonsense. It was really cool. I saw this. You can find this on Facebook. It's this Share Your Sound. And there's this young kid, this little kid, he's playing a Metallica song, and he's singing the part that James Hetfield would do. Hatfield, just kidding. And he's doing a really good job. He sounds really good. It's like on America's Got Talent. So hopefully the guy won. So if you check out this page, I might have to sign up for this. No, I didn't do it yet. Share Your Sound. Definitely check it out on Facebook. Because these people, girls and guys, gals, have incredible voices. All of them have incredible voices. There's some 2 chicks last night. I actually added them. A video that they made and they sang on, and they liked the fact that I put it on my page, so they liked the fact that I did that on Facebook. It's like, ladies, the reason I did it because you guys sound really good. They sound really good. It wasn't from this page. It was somewhere else. It's on my Facebook page. So just to let you know. So there's that. Oh, here's something really cool I'm looking at right now. It was on Facebook. It was a video. It says American AAF. It's like Air Force paratrooper guy. Older man, him and his wife, an elderly 70-year-old Army paratrooper reacts to the slingshot exactly how it's a video. And I didn't know how to take it. An old elderly black gentleman and his wife. And they go on one of these drops, amusement ride drops, and it goes up really fucking high. And the man is like, he is ecstatic. He's like enjoying it. His poor wife is like ready to have a heart attack at first. She is going crazy over this thing. And he's like a 70-year-old man is like, dude, I have so much respect for you. That is so fucking awesome. He's like having a blast because he was a paratrooper. He's 70 years old now. And he's on this thing where they basically just drop you from a high height. And the guy is like, he's tickled pink. He's high on the hog. He's loving it. It's like, dude, you give me so much more encouragement. You're 70 years old. You are 70 years old, and you are enjoying this whole thing. It's incredible. So yeah, it was like, I saw that, it's like, you really give me, like, I'm 50. So if I reach 70 years old, I'm sorry, I keep on banging on my mic, and can have as much energy and enjoy life as much as you do at 70 years old. I mean, the guy looked old, like older, but the fact that he had that much energy, he just made me feel like, God, there is so much more you can do. I'm not going to say there's so much more to live for, because the other day I was like, I hate to say this on a radio show that nobody listens to, but I was very close, I was taking it very seriously about committing suicide. I'm not saying that because nobody gives a shit. Nobody's going to hear it anyway, except Matt, and he won't get this far. But yeah, I was seriously thinking and planning out, how would I commit suicide and just do it clean and quickly and just be over with it. Because, I mean, honestly, I have no reason to live. But then I'm looking at it again. I saw this guy, and it's like, God, this guy has got so much that he is still literally getting out of his life. It's amazing. You know, and somebody like that guy there, this older gentleman that's 70 years old, you know, I seriously envy him, because probably he is one person who is far from thinking about the way I do. He is nowhere near where I am at on feeling suicidal. So that to me just amazes me. I think it's really cool. And, you know, I'm not going to say like it's going to keep me from thinking that way, because unfortunately, I hate to tell you, that's going to be there. It's something that's not going to go away. It was something I dealt with when I was in my teens, preteens, my young adulthood, and it's something I'm going to have to deal with even for the rest of my life. That thought of suicide is going to always definitely be there. So nothing you can do about it. Nothing I can do about it. Oh, yeah, you can. Don't say you can't do anything. It's, you know, free will. Well, you think that way. And congratulations, because you're much smarter than I am if you believe that certain things that, you know, are absolutely 100% in your control. So continue to think that way and let me know how it turns out for you. Because I could take that to another 6 hours. But anyway, yeah, so that was a really cool story. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to bring nobody down that's out there, because there is nobody out there, literally. But I have to do these shows. Hey, I'm stuck in a contract. I'll be doing this for who knows how much longer, you know, these podcasts. But I need to continue because I got my bill for the month, and it was like $50. So that is another thing, and there's no way I can stop like the contract I have that exists right now. So hey, this is interesting. I'm gonna let my show go because it's 2.5 hours. But I just saw this now. It says Lady Gaga's musical performance on A Star Is Born will be recorded live. Lady Gaga is still a few weeks away from stepping into the shoes previously filled by Janet Gaynor. Is that what it is? Judy Garland and Barbra Streisand, and the contemporary remake of A Star Is Born. So this is actually awesome. I don't know if it's, they're saying it's a live performance, this is going to be something on Hollywood, not in Hollywood, I'm sorry, in Broadway, because if it was, I would definitely be interested in getting a ticket. I couldn't think of anything to get before that would be worth going up to Hollywood for, but that would be Hollywood. I said it again. I said Hollywood. I meant Broadway. But if it's something she would do on Broadway, I would definitely, no way of sense and buts, I would buy a ticket for. Now, I know I can't afford all this nonsense, but that'd be something I would enjoy. So, anyway, I am not sure because I will just continue to find stuff to discuss or read or talk about, and there will be no end to it. So, So that being said, I keep on finding stuff. I'm trying to make this end, and it's not working. So anyway, folks, this is Walter from iWalter. I've been off for, like I said before, I've been off for like, I guess like about a month, I would say. And who knows how much longer I'll be off, because I could be off for, even longer yet. So, if you listen to this show, enjoy it while it's, we'll be there, but, who knows when I'll do another one. How's that? So thanks again. This is Walter from iWalter. And yes, I will sign off for President's Day. Thanks again. Listen in. Get other people to listen to.